The song said it best. Welcome to Destiny. Do y'all like that song? I think it's hot, hot, hot. I know I talk about that all the time. Welcome to Destiny. Welcome to Destiny. Welcome to Destiny. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Who's out there with us tonight? Good evening, everybody. Vivian, good evening. Stephen, good morning. Well, I can say good morning. Good evening. Ben, good evening. Genesis, good evening. Genesis is inviting friends. Shout out to Genesis. Thank you, man. Where are my digital disciples tonight? Remember we used to do that? Take a moment now and invite somebody. Take a moment and invite somebody. Take a moment and invite somebody. In particular, somebody who's trying to get their financial house in order, trying to raise their game financially. Invite somebody. We're diving in the book. We're still in Cedric's book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Wealth? Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Invite. Sarita, good evening. Good evening. Tell the hubby we said, what's up? Brittany, what's going on? Miss Diana, good evening. Nate, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, sir. Angela, good evening. Mike, good evening. Letisa, good evening. Staff members are checking in. Good to see our staff persons checking in. I appreciate you guys so much. I see you, Genesis. Genesis is on a roar with inviting folk. Go ahead, Genesis. We're going to make you the digital disciple of the night. Marion, good evening. Felicia, good evening. Good evening. Take a moment and invite. Minister Yolanda is inviting by the boatloads. All right. I see you, Minister Yolanda. Thank you so very much. Francis, good evening. Amina, good evening. Rucker, what's going on, brother? Appreciate all our staff persons joining us tonight. Sheila, good evening. Mike, good evening. On and on and on. Good evening to everybody. Hope that y'all having a great day. Are y'all enjoying this weather? Praise God. Finally, we're getting some good weather here in Georgia. And I'm loving it. I don't know about y'all. Jackie, good evening. Murdis, good evening. You and Deacon Jones, love y'all much. Yogi, good evening. Yogi says she survived the traffic. Traffic was bad today. Hey, that's Atlanta, man. That's Atlanta. You know what you do? Listen, when you leave the house, you just never know what you're getting ready to run into, which is why I use Waze everywhere I go. I don't care if I'm going around the block or over a couple of states, cross the nation. I'm going to use Waze. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Yogi says, yes, Lord. Yeah, Atlanta traffic is just part of the experience. Just part of the experience. I choose not to call it bad. It's just part of the experience. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Matthew, good evening, sir. Brother Deacon, good to see you, sir. Let's dive in. We're in chapter 5. I pray that you guys are still reading through this book. Don't put this book down. This is an ongoing process. Read it slowly, digest it. It's like a good steak. You just can't chomp it down at one time. Take your time, eat, take a bite, digest, enjoy the taste. You know what I mean? Feel the consistency, taste the flavors, digest it, let it marinate, all that kind of stuff. We're in chapter 5. I wish we could move faster, but there's so much in every chapter. Jackie says she's still reading and highlighting. Love it. How many of y'all old school like me? You just like to have the book in hand. Some people like what do you call that? Books when you can have it online. What do you call that? Ebooks. But I'm old school. I like to have the book where I can write in it and make notes and scratch up. You know what I mean? Just like old school. That's just how I operate. Good evening. Miss Donna says the book is awesome. I know that's right. Let's dive into it. We're in chapter 6. Thank you, Tanisha. Ebooks. We're in chapter 6. Chapter 6 is talking about developing a millionaire mindset, which is what Cedric talked about when he was here with us. Developing a millionaire mindset. And really he has 5 points that could really be sermons, each one to themselves. Lady Kim is with us. Good to see you. Candace is good to see you, Candace. Lady Kim. Angela is like me. She likes to have the book in hand. All right. Good deal. Let's dive in because we got a lot to cover in a short time to do it. Tonight he's talking about developing a millionaire mindset. I've said it before, I'll say it again. To me, the whole book is based on biblical principles. It's not preachy per se, but it's founded on biblical principle. This entire book, even this chapter and the beginning of chapter 5, developing a millionaire mindset, is founded on a biblical principle. He's talking about mindset, the way we think about things, the way we relate to things mentally. And he's talking about developing a millionaire mindset. If we're going to be wealthy, we're going to be happy, we're going to be whole, we're going to be all that God has called us to be, we must learn how to develop the right kind of mindset. And he's trying to encourage us as it relates to money to develop a millionaire mindset. What kind of mindset? This is a rhetorical question. You have to put this on your post. Just a rhetorical question that you can ask yourself. What type of mindset do you have when it comes to money? What's your mindset when it comes to money and wealth? What is your mindset? Do you have a millionaire mindset? Rhetorical question, you have to answer it. Just answer it to yourself. Do you have a millionaire mindset? If you don't, what type of mindset do you have? He says mindset is the way in which you think about things. Do you have a millionaire mindset when it comes to money? What is your mindset? He talks about the things that impact our mindset. What helps to create our mindsets? I think I underlined a few of them. He said everyone's mindset is preconditioned ideas, beliefs based on experiences in the world, information, and knowledge to which they are exposed. Exposure. You can't repost this. Come on, wake up and repost this. Exposure is everything. Exposure is everything. Good evening, Miss Bobby. Good to see you. My personal assistant. Love you much. Administrative assistant, executive assistant. Good to see you. Exposure is everything. Somebody repost that. Exposure is everything. Some of us don't have millionaire mindsets because we have not been exposed to it. Which is why books are so important. Which is why books and the people that you hang out with are so important. All right? There are two things that change your life. The people that you hang out with and the books that you read. Books change your mindset. Books change your mindset. Hey, Libby, good to see you. Exposure is everything. That's what the opening of this chapter is all about. He says there are a few things that impact our mindsets. Preconditioned ideas, beliefs based on experiences in the world, the type of information that we receive, and the knowledge to which we are exposed. Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinks, so is he. Mindset. As a man thinks, so is he. So that's what we're trying to do in the middle of reading this book. It's just exposure. It's just exposure. We're trying to enlarge our mental capacity. That's what we're doing. We're enlarging our mental capacity. Enlarging our mental capacity. Because your mindset will affect your ability or the height of your achievement. It will affect the height of your achievement. It will affect your capacity to achieve and how far you go in life. I gave the analogy on Sunday about the baby elephant being tied to a stake at a circus, or an event like that. Like when they're young, that a baby elephant can be tied by a chain and connected to a stake, and that stake hold him in place. Well, when he becomes grown, he pulls and tugs on that so much that it becomes his mindset that I cannot get free. That even when he is now a grown, full, 1-ton animal with all the strength in the world, his mindset has been so preconditioned, same word that we read in this book, that he believes I don't have what it takes. I don't have what it takes to move or to free myself from this stake that's holding me in place. Believe it or not, that's where a lot of us are. Maybe not you, but you know people like that. They have been preconditioned to believe that I'm going to always be in a tight financially. I'm always going to be a day late and $1 short. Come on, y'all. The devil is a lie. Now let's break that. Let's break that pattern. Let's break that mindset. Let's develop a millionaire mindset. Lay hands on yourself. I'm developing a millionaire mindset. He gives us 9 ways to do it. Let me jump that directly in. He says, number one, if you're going to develop a millionaire mindset, you must, number one, have desire. You must, number one, have desire. A lot of the principles that we're teaching in each chapter are really overlapping previous chapters, because we've talked about desire before. Number one, you must have desire. Desire. You must desire it. You must make up your mind that this is something that I want. I want to be free financially. I want to live my best life financially. All right. I want to grow and develop and evolve financially. I don't want to just be in the same situation that I am in today, 20 years from now. In fact, where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself 3 years from now? Where do you see yourself at the end of the year? Number one, you must have desire. You must have desire. Everything begins with desire. Some people never get what they want because they never make up their minds what they want. You got to, number one, decide. You must, number one, decide. Number one, you must decide. God doesn't typically work against your desires. If you are content with living on level 2, God will let you live there. I know that's a heavy thought, but it's true in my estimation. In fact, you believe something different. When you get the mic, you teach me what you believe. I believe that God will allow you to live on the level that you choose to live on. You say, I want to live on level 2. Well, level 2 is where you're going to be. If your neighbor next door decides, hey, I want to live on level 4, guess what? Level 4 is possible. The neighbor next to him says, hey, I want to be on level 10. Level 10 then is possible. Are y'all with me? It all begins with desire. You remember in John 5, I believe it was John 5, when Jesus healed the man who was lame by the pool of Bethesda? He had been there 38 years. Sunday we talked about the lady who was bent out of shape 18 years. But imagine 38 years. The man had been lame by the pool of Bethesda. And Jesus shows up. And Jesus asked him, after recognizing that he had been in that condition a long time, Jesus asked him a very, 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 very strange question. He said, do you want to be made whole? Come on, Jesus. You are omnipotent. You know all things. It looked like you would know I want to be made whole. The mere fact that I'm here by this alleged watering hole that they believed had magical powers suggests that I want to be made whole. But Jesus asked him the question because he wanted to know what his desire was. What was his want? What was his ask in that matter? Jesus didn't want to push him to be healed if the man didn't want to be made whole. So Jesus asked him, do you want to be made whole? Because Jesus doesn't work outside. He works in concert with our own mentalities. Come on, y'all. Number one, you got to have desires. Number one, you got to have desire. That's my intent in this series, to increase our desire to live. Hey, if you're on level 1, at least say, hey, I want to be on level 2. You're on 2, say, I want to go to 4. You're on 4, I want to go to 5. You're on 5, I want to go to 6. You're on 6, I want to go to 7. Because everybody's not on the same level. And that's good. It's okay. But don't spend the next 20 years in the same place that you are when there's another level available to you. Number one, there must be desire. Number 2, there must be faith. Cedric really challenged me with his point on faith. Because he said some things that, I don't know about shook me. He said some things that punch for a believer. And he is a believer, by the way. And I appreciate it in the long run. Like, for example, he said, and with his second point about faith, he said, and I quote, I don't believe God is going to make you or me or any of us wealthy. I don't believe God is going to make you, me, or any of us wealthy. Prior to that, he was talking about he didn't believe that God was coming to our rescue. That God was not sitting around in heaven like, who's the next person I'm going to make wealthy? It was at least a point that made me think. Did y'all feel the same way? Jackie, you felt the same way about point 2 when he talks about faith? It was almost like, if you aren't careful, he wasn't big on faith until you kind of pull back the covers and see where he was really coming from. He said, I don't believe God is going to make you, me, or any of us wealthy. And In fact, he said, same paragraph, what's important to understand is that neither God nor the government, for that matter, is going to step in and right all of America's wrongs in this lifetime. I'm sorry, but it ain't happening. It ain't happened yet, and it ain't happening anytime soon. Hey, y'all, some of y'all are saying, Mike, you felt the same way? Jackie felt the same way? I believe there must be faith. Here's what I do believe. I wrestled with the point, and here's what I came up with. I believe the part that faith plays is believing that there is a higher source. There is somebody bigger than me. There's somebody beyond me, God. And that God has laid the foundation and put things in place, all right, so that I can ultimately obtain the level that he really wants me to reach. Let me see if I can come closer. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me see if I can come closer. Let me give you an analogy. You know I love analogies. Here's what I believe. Somebody says true history teaches that. All right. Here's what I believe. Here's what I believe, guys. I believe that God is the creator of resources. He's the creator of thoughts. He says, I'll give you the desires of your heart. You know, some people see that verse and they say, God will give you the desires of heart, meaning I want a car, God will give me a car. I want a spouse, God will give me a spouse. Could it be that the text also means that that it is God who plants the desire to have what it is you desire? You know what I mean? Like, not only does he actually bless us with the car, he plants the seed of thought in my brain that makes me want a car or makes me want to go to the next level. Here's what I believe, folks. Let me see if I can come a little bit closer. I believe that God gives us the resources. He gives us the mindset. All right. He gives us the mind. I believe I am created by God. God gave me my brain. God gave me my mind. God gave me resources like this book to help elevate my mindset. He put people like Cedric as an author, preachers and pastors and friends and mentors and people who inspire us and push us. I believe God did that. He gives us the resource, the Bible. All right. All of the analogies and parables in the Bible. God gave us all of that in an effort to help create the right mindset. Let's think of it from this standpoint. I don't want to get stuck on this point. You ever thought about this as it relates to birds? God talks a lot about, and Jesus talks about, look at the sparrow, look at the bird. Watch the lilies of the field. He tells us to study nature, basically. Here's a lesson from nature. God doesn't make bird nests for the birds. Come on, y'all. God does not make nests for the birds. The bird has to make the nest. What God does do is he creates trees for the nest to sit in. He creates branches that have small twigs that eventually fall to the ground, that the bird now can go find the twig, fly. He gives the bird the ability to fly to the top of the tree, place the twig in the tree, come back and gather other twigs, feathers, soft grass, right? To go back, and now the bird creates this nest from the resources, come on, Pastor, from the resources that God has created. God gives the bird the desire to create a nest, gives him the wisdom, the diligence, the ability to fly, the ability to hold the twigs in his beak, to take the twig to the tree, to find, to locate, to search, to have the diligence to search and look for grass and soft feathers to build the nest with. But God doesn't build the nest. He gives the bird what he needs to do it. Come on, y'all. I believe that's what faith is. I believe that's what God does. God gives us the resources. He places us in the right environments. He puts the right things around us, right? And then he allows us then now to go and build, whether it's building a family, or building a business, or building wealth, or building a ministry, or building an organization. Come on, y'all. That's what God does. That's what God does. He gives us the resources. Take a moment and thank God for the resources, the blessings, the opportunities, the open doors, the breakthroughs, the wisdom that God has given all of us to go to the next level. That's where faith comes in. 3. Number 1, he says, if you're going to develop a millionaire mindset, number 1, you must have desire. Number 2, you must have faith. Number 3, you must have confidence. Number 3, you must have confidence. Confidence is, faith is believing that God has given me what I need to obtain, to reach the level that God ultimately wants me to be in. That's God. All right, that's faith. Confidence is belief in self. Faith is belief in God. Confidence is belief in self. It is believing in oneself. It is believing in oneself. It is one of the most powerful weapons, says that a person has. And that is to believe in yourself. To believe that you have what it takes. Lay hands on yourself and say, I have what it takes. Yes, you do. You have what it takes. You have what it takes. Listen, the truth is some of us tonight may not have millionaire mindsets. But I want to inspire and teach and push and prod you to believe for the next level. Maybe let's think in baby steps. Maybe our dream tonight is not, I want to be a millionaire by the end of the year. No. You may say, I want to have $10,000 saved by the end of the year. I want to learn how to not spend all of the money that I make by the end of the year. I want to get my debt in line. You know what I mean? I want to get my credit score up. What's your credit score, by the way? Rhetorical question. You don't have to answer that. What's your credit score? I want to raise my credit score. I want to learn about investing. All right? Maybe we need to develop smaller goals, all right, and get some wins under our belt, all right, and develop our confidence. Confidence is belief in self. If you're going to develop a millionaire mindset, we must develop confidence. He says this, and I quote, confident people don't abandon their goals. They adjust them. That's what I think the point I was trying to make. They adjust them to a level that reinforces their confidence by providing a route to repeated success. Number 3, you must have confidence. Lord, help us with our confidence. All right? Confidence. Number 4, we're going to have a millionaire mindset. We must have courage. We must have courage. I was telling Lady Kim and I was having a conversation with Destin, I think yesterday evening or the day before that. And I was telling him, I said, son, I want to teach you a very powerful lesson. I want to share with y'all what I shared with him under this note for courage. Have y'all ever thought about this? This is what I told him. That faith and fear are both magnets. Both faith and fear are magnets. Faith is a magnet. You set your mind on something, right? You set your mind on something. You believe. You put it in your heart. You pray toward it. You begin to develop a magnet that attracts the things that you're praying for to you. Let me teach you a very powerful lesson. Fear, though, does the same thing. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Fear does the same thing. I believe that's why the Bible over and over and over again constantly reminds us, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Be of good courage. Be of good courage. Don't be afraid. I'm with you. I'm with you to the end. You know, God just constantly, they say the thought, fear not, God telling us not to fear, is listed some 365 times in the Bible. It's almost like every day God is saying, hey, I want to tell you something. Don't be afraid. Come on, y'all. It's almost like every day God is telling us the same thing. Hey, you get ready to leave and go to work? You get ready to go out and do life? Don't be afraid. You get ready to go to college? You getting ready to start your business? You get ready to start a family? Thinking about getting married? Thinking about making that next step? Thinking about doing something that seems a little bit scary? God says, hey, I want to remind you something. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. 365 times that's listed in the Bible. Like God wants to remind us every day, don't be afraid. Why? Because fear is a magnet. Faith is a magnet, but the opposite of faith is fear, and fear is also a magnet. That's why you have to be careful with what you fear, what you're afraid of. Come on, y'all. We are more than conquerors through Christ. I don't have to be afraid because I'm more than a conqueror. Come on, y'all. Listen at Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Why? Because God doesn't want us to walk in fear, because he knows the power, the magnetism of fear. Fear attracts things to it. I'll leave this point alone. I'll tell you this. There's a powerful verse in the book of Job. When Job went through all that he had to experience, Job said this: the thing that I feared is the thing that has come upon me. The thing that I feared is the thing that has come upon me. Isn't that powerful? The thing that I feared is the thing that has come upon me. That's Job 3:25. Job 3:25. Job 3:25. You ought to read that. Jot this down. Job 3:25. In the King James Version reads like this: for the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. Ooh, boy. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon. Y'all know what all this stuff that Job went through? Obviously, Job was fearing. Hey, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. And Job said, the very thing that I was fearing is the thing that came upon me. Why? Because fear and faith work alike. That's why you want to build your faith and starve your fear. Somebody repost that. That ain't in my notes nowhere. Build your faith and starve your fears. Build your faith. Repost that, somebody. Come on, y'all wake up. Build your faith and starve your fears. Come on, y'all. What's at the forefront? Is it your fear or is it your faith tonight? I choose courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving in spite of fear. Come on, y'all. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving in spite of fear. 5, he talks about sacrifice. 5, he talks about sacrifice. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Murders. I see you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Tara. Good. Thank you, Brenda. Good. Thank you so much. 5, he talks about sacrifice. 5, he talks about sacrifice. If you're going to build a millionaire mindset, you must make some sacrifices. You must make some sacrifices. Sacrifice is giving up something in lieu of giving up something today for something that you want tomorrow. Giving up something today for something that is on the way. It is sacrificing something, giving up something in anticipation of something greater is coming. Come on, y'all. You got to receive that. Something greater is coming. You got to receive that for you, your family, your kids, your grandkids. You got to believe that for them. Something greater is coming. Come on, y'all. Raise your hand. Something greater is coming. Where's Ben? Wake up, Ben. Something greater is coming. Declare that over your life. Something greater is coming in my family, in my bloodline, as it relates to my health, as it relates to my finances. This ain't just about money. But as it relates to my finances, as it relates to my career, as it relates to my God-ordained purpose and destiny, something great is coming. God is working on my behalf. How many of y'all believe that? Something great is, I see you, Ben. Come on, give me up, Ben. Something greater is coming. You got to believe that. You got to know that on the inside. And you got to be willing to make the sacrifices. Let's not get excited and miss the point. And you got to be willing to make the sacrifices to make it happen. Here's the sacrifice he said he made. I'm on page 96. He talks about when he started his first job and initially got married, that they made a sacrifice, a decision. They decided, we talked about the first point. We decided not to take a honeymoon. We paid for our wedding in cash. We furnished the home and paid for it cash. We set a spending limit. Watch this now. Here's a guy he's college trained, got a college degree, just got married, all right, and they're making sacrifices. We're not going on a honeymoon. We're not gonna have a big lavish wedding. We're not gonna buy a huge home. We're gonna buy something that we can pay for in cash. And then he says this: We set a spending limit of $100 a week each. He and his wife. He got $100. His wife got $100 a week. We're not going above that. He says some folks, he says we were determined to follow his mantra of living frugally. Here's how he said he did it. He said, I would divvy up my weekly allotment by telling myself I had $40 for Monday through Thursday and $60 for Wednesday through the weekend. That's a sacrifice. How many of you know that's a sacrifice? That's a sacrifice. Now listen, please don't take my message or his message out of context. I'm not suggesting that we should go and do the same. What I am saying is that people who win in life have learned how to make the proper sacrifices to obtain it. It's just fact. People who win in life have learned how to conquer themselves. You know what the greatest thing to conquer is? Yourself. Ooh, I'm out of time. The greatest thing to conquer is yourself. And when it comes to building wealth, there's going to always be a outfit that's calling your name. There's always going to be a shoe that you hear calling you, trying to get you to come pick up that shoe or that purse or that belt or that cologne or that perfume or that car or that house or that vacation or that trip or that. Come on, y'all. And Sarah just makes the point that if we're gonna change our financial legacies, if we're gonna change the wealth tree, that we must be willing to make some sacrifices. He said this, I thought it was rich. He said, the way I see it, there are two options. You can choose based on your desires and your net worth. Here it is. He says, the one, you can choose to look wealthy and remain poor and thereby never become wealthy. I'll say it again. You can choose to look wealthy and remain poor and thereby never become wealthy. Or you can choose to look poor or modest while building your wealth. It's very easy to wear our wealth or to drive our wealth or to living our wealth. All right? I don't want to look rich. I'm not trying to impress nobody. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I want to make the proper sacrifices so that I can win, so my family and I, we can win when it comes to wealth. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I'm just out of time. I got to push on. 6. I'm just going to give you the last 3. 6 was emotional control. They're going to be highs. Building wealth, like building a family, like building your faith, or like building your career, or like getting better as it relates to your health. It's like an emotional roller coaster. It's like an emotional roller coaster. Some of you have checking us out as we do, workouts. I try to post my workouts publicly as a way of holding myself accountable. I'd be lying to you if I told you every morning I wake up, I'm super duper excited, happy about going to work out. It just ain't true. There are some days I'm like, yes, let's go get it. I wake up like, theme music, Eye of the Tiger in my mind. And then there are other days I'm like, I don't want to. I don't feel like it. It's cold or it's hot or it's raining or it's a nice day or it's a bad day. There are emotional highs and lows. Emotional highs and lows. Winners, though, learn how to fight through both highs and lows. Hey, let me say this. Don't get too high on your highs. Here's emotional control. Don't get too high on your highs and don't get too low on your lows. When you have great days, don't get high-minded like, oh, I'm it. I'm the GOAT. It's me. And then when you have bad days, don't go too far in the dumps. It's life, and life is filled with ups and downs, hills and mountains. Come on, y'all. Hills and valleys. And you got to learn how to be even-keeled, whether on the mountaintop or down in the valley. 7, grit. Grit. That's that word that I used a while back, a couple of Sundays ago, that stick-to-itness. Grit. That grind, that daily grind. Whether it's built, no matter what you build it, you got to have that daily grind, that ability to keep on keeping on. The ability to keep on keeping on. I'm like, this is my commitment. This is my desire. This is the sacrifice. This is the thing I'm sacrificing for. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep on keeping on. I'm not going to use excuses. I'm not going to let anything get in the way. Two things you can make. You can either make progress or you can make excuses, but you can't make both. Ooh, come on, Pastor. You can either make progress or you can make excuses, but you can't make both. That's true in marriage. That's true in ministry. That's true in college. That's true in the military. Come on, y'all. It's that daily grind. It's that effort to give 110% every day. Every day I'm going on. I'm going hard. Every day I'm going hard. That's that grit. That's that grit. That's that grit. I'm going hard. What was that? 8. 7 is grit. 8 is consistency. Kind of like the first cousin of that. Consistency, being consistent. And then 9 is having the patience. Having patience. Having patience. Having patience. Not getting discouraged. Not getting depressed when you don't see it happening soon. Check out the woman that we preached about Sunday. For 18 years, she was bent over. For 18 years, she was bent over. But the text seems to suggest that she kept going to church. She kept going to church. She kept going to the synagogue. She kept going to the synagogue. And in that 18th year, Jesus shows up. He touches her, and immediately she straightened up. You know what she had? She had patience. She didn't get discouraged. She didn't throw in the white towel. She didn't say this faith stuff doesn't work. This praise stuff is a waste of time. She remained, that word that we used to use, consistent, and she was patient. Are you patient? How's your patience? How's your patience? Everybody in the Bible who did something great, it required some patience. Noah, when it was building the ark. Joseph says, I'm going to be a baller. I'm going to be balling out of control, and everybody's going to have to bow down to me. But years passed between him having that dream and it actually occurring. Abraham says, God says, I'm going to make you the father of many nations. But many years passed and many setbacks happened in between God giving him the dream and God manifesting the dream in his life. It requires patience. It requires patience. I'm praying for your patience tonight. You got to have patience. That's right, Sherry. You got to have patience. Tara says that's the hard one. You got to have patience. You got to have patience. You got to have patience. Nothing happens overnight. There's no such thing as an overnight success. I think that was a quote in here. There's no such thing as an overnight success. It requires patience, diligence, hanging in there day in, day out, waiting on it, being patient, being patient, being patient. Hey, let's believe God that we're developing millionaire mindsets. Father, I thank you. I love you. I give you the praise and glory. I pray for everybody on this live stream tonight. I pray for everybody on this live stream tonight, Facebook, YouTube, wherever they're watching from. I pray tonight for their patience. I pray, God, tonight that you would bless them, that you would cause them to develop a millionaire mindset. I pray for their desires. I pray for their faith tonight. I pray that you would bless their confidence. Give them the courage they need not to give up. I pray that for the sacrifices, that you would help us to make the sacrifices. You made the ultimate sacrifice for us. God, help us on a weekly, daily basis to make this. I pray for our emotions, God. I pray for our grit, our grind, our ability to hang on in there. I pray for our consistency. And then God bless us with patience. We love you. We thank you for the mindset that you're creating in us. We believe that you're doing great things for us and through us. And we give you the glory. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. Hey, this is a great book. Don't put it down. Have the patience to keep on reading through it. We're going to meet here next week, same time, same place. Hey, right before you leave, couple of things. Number one, I want to offer to you I want to extend to you the greatest invitation that's ever been extended. The opportunity for you to make Jesus Lord of your life. 2, I would like to offer you the opportunity to become partners or members with us here at Destiny World Church. I believe life is like a race. And maybe you want to come do the next leg of the race with us, whether you're 12 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 60 or 70 or 80, wherever you are in life. Come on, hang out with us. Come do the next leg of life with us. We love to run the next leg and run on to see what the end's going to be. If you're making one of those decisions tonight, call us, contact us, let us know you made that decision on live stream. Word on Wednesday. You ain't got to wait till Sunday to do it. You can do it tonight. Call us tomorrow and let us know that you made that decision. We'd love to have you. All right? I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Right before you leave, would you grab an offering? You You can give electronically. You can give by way of Cash App, $DWC Atlanta. $DWC Atlanta. You could bring it on Sunday when you come. You could drop it off tomorrow as our staff will be in the building. And but however you do it, let's do it. Let's plant some seed. That's what giving is. It's planting seed. It's planting seed. Let's be consistent even with our giving. Hey, let's do it tonight. Today I worship God, my Father, and Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, with this tithe, my offering. I know he receives the tithe, will carry them into the sanctuary of heaven to worship God the Father. My offering is seed for my destiny. By sowing this seed, I boldly confess and declare that I have and receive 100-fold harvest, favor with God and man, jobs, better jobs, raises, bonuses, protection, peace, physical healing, blessings, and increase, favorable settlements, wealth, and riches. There it is. We quoting it. We ain't just quoting it, though. We learning how to do it. Wealth and riches, supernatural debt cancellation, cast down every stronghold, sickness and poverty must cease. The devil is defeated. And I know I'm blessed. I've enjoyed every second. I wish it was a little bit longer. Come on, Genesis. Genesis says this is the best church on this side of the heaven. Hey, let's just end on that note. Thank you, Genesis. This church is the best church this side of heaven. Hey, I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. All moms, all ladies, shout out to you. Look forward to seeing you this Sunday. One service, 9 a.m. We're going to love on ladies and just give God praise for moms and have a great worship service and then go out and celebrate moms who are with us, moms who are no longer with us. Let's just love and thank God for the moms in our lives. Shout out to all of our ladies, all of the ladies. Shout out. This is your month. It's Girl Power Month. Do you. Be who God has called you. Hey, I love you. I'll see you this Sunday. God bless.